Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. I hope you all are doing well tonight. I am once again simulcasting on Rumble and Utizzle, and I hope everyone is doing well, and I appreciate everyone who shows up for tonight's broadcast and everybody who tunes in after the broadcast to walk through history with us all. Boy, we got a big day coming tomorrow. The Barbarians are at the gate, and it's a big voting day, and we're going to see what happens. But what do I do while we're waiting for folks to get into the chats? I play some videos, and that's what I'm going to do now. And then you know what happens. We're going to be like butter and get on a roll.
I would say that the mayor, all these Democrat cities, like Chicago, what you are doing to your own citizens is evil. Subjecting your own citizens to this constant bloodbath and then rejoicing in it is evil. And you should praise God every single day that President Trump is in the White House. The Democrat Party does not fight for, care about, or represent American citizens. It is an entity devoted exclusively to the defense of hardened criminals, gangbangers, and illegal alien terrorists. The Democrat Party is not a political party. It is a domestic extremist organization. Look at Chicago. They've shut down the police department. They've handcuffed law enforcement. And as President Trump says, they have turned the streets of Chicago into a bloody killing field. Here in Washington, D.C., before President Trump launched the federal law enforcement liberation in D.C., there was a murder on the streets of this town every other day. Body after body after body after body. That was Washington, D.C. Residents were afraid to go to restaurants. They were afraid to go into entire neighborhoods. They were getting carjacked, right and left, robbed and beaten. That was Washington, D.C. Now we're 2 weeks homicide free, the safest the city has ever been in its entire history. And the Democrats, instead of jumping up and down and saying, thank you, President Trump, thank you for saving our lives, thank you for saving our cities, instead of thanking him for that, they're saying, President Trump, how dare you save our lives? How dare you save our children? How dare you save our city? The Democrat Party, Sean, that exists today, it disgusts me.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants. Okay.
Question for the president for us? You're fired!
The storm zone.
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm you're talking about.
They have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person.
He's absolutely going to come back with full vengeance the next time around.
Now think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. Our Constitution really does give the president tremendous power to destroy. This will be something we could never have imagined.
Now the gloves are off.
Some of Trump's close political allies told him they are working on figuring out the identities of the FBI and DOJ staff and forming lists.
I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical DA and AG in America for their illegal, racist enforcement of the law. The deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried. There are a lot of people out there that are very treasonous things against our country. People that have done such harm to our country. I've been looking at them for a long time.
He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he perceives as enemies.
Put them all in jail where they belong. You gotta get tough and smart, and you have to fight fire with asshole. We will take care of it.
Hi, folks. Thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate it very much. And I want to thank Hilarious, too, for going by Buy Me a Coffee this evening. Before the show even started, if you're out there, Hilarious, too, I thank you very much. I have a link in the description if anybody wants to help out. So let's see who's joining me tonight. Haha, Sissy's here, Darla's here, Linda Marie, Sherry, Robin, Randy, Miss Minder Sue, Irene, Baby Nurse. Nice to see you. Let's see. Todd's here. Hey, you know, it's starting to get cold out pretty soon. It's going to be frost on the pumpkin. Hi, Rebecca. Nice to see you. Y'all ready for it? I hope you are. Yeah, Miss Minder Sue's putting booms, and I got to let some booms off. Just as well do it on this. Hi, Elva. This picture of somebody from Martha's Vineyard. Remember that? How happy they were to get rid of them? They don't care unless their ox is getting gored. How many times have I said that? Hi, Ann. Nice to see you. How many times I said they don't care unless it's their ox getting gored? And I tell you what, I might as well start off with it. I used to talk about this one comedian, just a repugnant. I think I called him the most repugnant individual. But he's turned himself around. I played some clips from him, and I said he was foul-mouthed, filthy, degenerate. And, you know, that's the way he was behaving, and I call him as I see him, right? Now, I got a clip from him where his ox is getting gored. And he's coming around to see light. He has said the most obnoxious, filthy things about Trump. A so-called comedian. And he's on the Bill Maher show. And don't you know, he can't help it. He uses foul language as like breathing. So as a lot of these low IQ people do. You know, they have no compunction of being filthy mouthed. What do I got underneath this meme here? Anything? Oh, I got nothing. Well, I'll put her back up again. But anyway, he was on the Bill Maher show. I'm talking about Michael Rappaport. And I think he's speaking for a lot of New Yorkers. I don't know how things are going to end up tomorrow with the vote. I got no idea. But here he is. When their imperious rear ends get insulted, then watch out, right? But when we're getting insulted, when we're getting run over, when we're dealing with the crime, when we're dealing with the economic hardship of carrying half of Latin America and God knows how many other countries on our backs, everything's fine and Trump's no good. But when the chickens come home to roost in your life, then you decide, well, at least he's coming around. And like I say, language warning.
I want people to feel safe in New York City. I want my wife to feel safe. My wife is a tough broad. She doesn't feel safe in Midtown Manhattan during the day.
Really?
Yeah. And my wife,
really,
she's
like,
not.
You're like going out for lunch.
I'm not saying she's like fucking shaking in her boots, but my wife in the last 2-3 years has been groped in Times Square, has had a fucking shoe thrown at her, has been called the N-word, and got proposed to on the train by a homeless person, all between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. And when my wife got touched in the middle of the day coming out of a play, I'm not happy with that. And it was like a homeless person. Like, I don't care that you're homeless. Don't touch my fucking wife. You know what I mean? And I, like, it bothered me so deeply that this happened to her, and that she's got a shoe thrown at her.
Why a shoe?
Because a crazy person.
Just crazy.
Crazy. But when you touch my wife, and my wife is violated next day, and walk out of the court like fucking Tupac, like those guys did when they jumped, you know, like fucking giving the middle finger to photographers. Like, if you touch a policeman and you're not from the country, bye. Get the fuck out of here. Like, you know, like, and I'm not one of these people who, I know the police are not perfect, but if you touch a policeman, you should be in prison, period. You shouldn't be able to walk out of jail going, fuck, you know, like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck. And this shit's been going on in New York City. But this thing with women not feeling comfortable in Manhattan during the day, not down with that shit. It really deeply bothered me that happened to my wife. And like I said, she's not some laissez-faire, you know, like head in the... She looks out for me when we're in the street. So, like, I was like, nope. And I'm comfortable saying, put him under the fucking jail, and he should never come out. Because God forbid he comes out and does something worse.
Okay, well, welcome aboard, you miscreant. You know, but like I said, it's when their ox gets gored. Do you think he even knows the name of Lincoln Riley? He wants to put somebody in jail and never see him again. Never let him out again. Because they threw a shoe at his wife. We can name off the terrible, terrible cases that have happened. For years, we've been talking about. But if that's what it takes, like I said, each group has their own precipice. Okay? We've looked down in the precipice. We don't need to be awakened. We're awake. But these people who are all of a sudden saying, whoa, we're not going to get any food stamps, I guess that's their precipice. This character here, his wife, I saw a comment there. I wonder what she looks like. I guarantee you, be right rough. Have to be a mentally ill person probably to get into conflict with her, I'm sure. But no, that's his precipice. When his insulated rear end starts to feel vulnerable, his royal insulated rear end. Hi, Bill. How you doing? Pappy Two Bears. Nice to see you. Adrian. Nice to see you. Bill's here. A policeman. Yeah, I noticed how I kept saying that. A policeman. I've seen police women get lumped up, kicked around, and beat up. Hi, Sparky. Wayne. Nice to see you, Wayne. Flannel cheese. All right. I missed a lot of people. Nice to see you folks, but hey, it's what it... Yes, you certainly did, Miss Minder Sue. I got to give some booms. Miss Minder Sue helped out last night, right before the broadcast ended, didn't you, Miss Minder Sue? K&S Cleanup, how you doing? And hilarious too, earlier today. Where's my bombs? I want... Pow! Boom! Getting right on top of her hat. That's, pow, that's close enough. Oh, no. Well, shoot. Let me have a bird fly by. There we go. I appreciate everybody went buy me a coffee. Ann went by there. Mike and Bev went by there. Shannon, I think, as I said, she's over at Rumble, I believe. And chairman of the board, Gary, on top of Miss Mendersu. And hilarious, too. What a start to the month. That's wonderful. And I do appreciate it. So anyway, he's paying attention, I guess. And I tell you what, this is, I'll go ahead and play this now also. And I haven't watched Scott Adams in a while. I talked about him last year, I believe, because I watch him every day. So I hadn't seen him in a while. And I see this clip and I can tell that he is going through treatment, okay? He's probably prednisone, some steroids, along with what other treatments are giving him. You know, you see the puffiness in his face. But here he's thanking Trump, Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, El Presidente, among others. And I'm so glad that he's getting a shot at his treatment. I'll go ahead and play it before I say my dark stuff about why did his appointment get screwed up? Why? But they straightened it out over the weekend pretty daggone quick, too.
Some of you know the story that over the summer, when the news came out that I was declining, President Trump called me home and blew my mind. But one of the things he offered was, he said that if you need anything, let me know. But of course, you have to be careful about, does he really mean that? Does he really mean if you need anything, let me know? He's running the whole country, and some would say part of the world. That doesn't seem like something a president could possibly do. But when things aren't working out, and you got to try all the doors. I sort of reached the end of one rope, which was I wasn't sure I was getting any health care at all. I might have been. I still don't know. But what I don't know is if they'd even started the process to get me that potentially life-saving drug that I've been trying to get. And so I wrote a message saying that on Sunday I wrote that I would be asking the president on Monday. Now that would be today. But as you know, President Trump likes to do things ahead of schedule and better than you expected and ahead of schedule. What is it? Below budget, ahead of schedule. And but I feel like a lot of things went in motion at the same time. So I was contacted by Don Jr., who is literally in Africa. He's in Africa. What's the situation? Dr. Oz calls me. Dr. Oz, what's the situation? How can I help? Oh my God. And then you may have seen that President Trump, best president ever, he posted my message to him that was on X yesterday. It was a public message. And he just said, on it, on it. He was so on it. Oh my God, was he on it? Anyway, it turns out that it turns out that nobody in senior management at Kaiser, my healthcare company, had a good weekend. They probably thought, oh, it's nice to have a Sunday off for a change. They probably work pretty hard. I imagine they work pretty hard. And suddenly their entire Sunday is absorbed by this. Oh, I feel bad about it, but good about it, because it might have saved my life. I mean, there's a very good chance.
Yeah. So we hope for the best for Scott Adams. Shannon is Sparky's CEO and runs. Oh, all right. All right. Okay, I get it, Sparky. All right. So it's not Rumble. All right. I was wondering. That straightens that out. Okay. I'll have to make a note of that. I mean, a literal note, because my mental notes, I'm an old man, for crying out loud. Hi, Yvonne. How you doing? Nice to see you. So anyway, let's hope for the best for Scott. And that was an impressive rally, rallying to the cause. And hopefully it'll get other people who are undergoing treatment, and hopefully their providers will sharpen their pencils also. You know, at least keep people posted as to what's going on, so they don't feel like they slip through the cracks. What a terrible feeling when you're facing that kind of an illness. So, you know, on my thumbnail, I've got Eat the Rich. And this is an actual, there's nothing photoshopped or put into this. This is Mom Dami at a senior center dancing, going out there dancing for votes. And Eat the Rich. And New York Free for All. The Barbarians are at the gate. Just like I talked about in the past. About Dr. Zhivago. Came back from the war. His beautiful home. He lived there with his relatives. It was all overrun with like 20 people because the communists had taken over and decided everybody deserves a home. This is a big enough house for 20 more strangers to come in. They're going to run over top of private property. He already said what he was going to do to his words, not mine, white neighborhoods. Listen to this pandering here. You can't tell it like it is. You can't talk about what I've talked about, a Muslim invasion. You can't talk about the Muslim Brotherhood and how they're insidious and they take over your communities. And here he is. How many of you all are victims by people calling you terrorists? Raise your hands.
I just want to ask everyone in this crowd, if you can raise your hand if you have been called a terrorist while living in this city. Yes. If you can raise your hand if you...
Yeah, look at them all. Yeah, we've been called terrorists. Well, Trump supporters have been called a lot worse. And we've had international psychological campaigns run against us. Hi, Melinda, how you doing? Debbie's here. Whiskey. Oh, Bill, you went through... you went through cancer treatment. Well, it sounds like you're doing good. I hope you keep doing good, and I hope Scott Adams has the same results. Let's all hope from that. My family's dealt with cancer in the past. How come my button's not working? What's going on? Huh. Anyway, here's an example. This is a long version. I'll play the short version later on in the broadcast. But this is a whistleblower for BBC. Let me see if my other button's working. There we go. A whistleblower for BBC how they altered the tapes of Trump just before the J6 event.
They played the following clip.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you, and we fight. We fight like hell.
But Trump didn't, in fact, say this at all. The BBC spliced together two clips that took place 54 minutes apart. So let's go through it again.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you.
Now, see there, between Capitol and, that's a cut. Here's what Trump actually said.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
It's different. It wasn't until nearly an hour later that he then said the second part of the BBC's version.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we fight. We fight like hell.
Yeah, but the degenerates on the left, you can show this to them and show it to them. They'll still have their spite. They'll still have their anger. They'll still exaggerate and call Trump names because it's all been blessed by judges to call Trump a rapist, to call him a felon, and on down the line. We've got insurrectionist judges. What's the latest? You can't ask for citizenship to vote. You all heard about that? That was day before yesterday. No surprise. No surprise. Now they have this Judge Immergut, I believe her name is. Oh, well, we can't deploy the National Guard. Things are not that bad. Not as bad as you're making it out to be, you bad people. Meanwhile, the protests are getting more aggressive. They've been accosted. Border Patrol agents been accosted with knives, explosives, machetes, on and on. So I believe that after this election, I wouldn't be surprised if we were looking at the Insurrection Act being invoked, because Trump has said during that interview, I could do it, and judges can't say a thing about it. Oh, good, baby nurse. Hi, CJ, how you doing? I hope you keep your therapy going and get your hip going back to full steam, I hope. Yeah, you're gonna. Have they already got you in therapy? I bet they do. They get you up and moving pretty quick. It's been my experience when they have to put things back together. But anyway, what's going on? With Zohran Mamdani, they ought to just go ahead when this is over with and revoke his citizenship as a naturalized citizen. He's been advocating for communism, which is in violation of the Communist Control Act. He was affiliated with radical groups, and he's being funded by people like Soros. And he didn't disclose any of that stuff. It's fraudulent. They need to get rid of him, even if he wins. Just say, well, sorry, you're out of here. Hi, Darla, how you doing? That's what I think should happen. Here, what's this one now? Daily Mail. Explosive report claims a network of charities connected to George Soros funneled $40 million to support Zohran Mamdani's political rise in a tax-dodging scheme. There he is. There's Zohran. How did he get his money? He's loaded, isn't he? Here he is, another story about him. What's this? Oh, yeah. This woman. Fox News put this up. Keeping score. Linda Sarsour warns she'll ensure Zohran Mamdani fulfills his campaign promises, including dismantling an NYPD unit that polices terrorism threats, protests, and riots if he's elected. Raise your hand if anyone's ever called you a terrorist. If you're in this crowd, raise your hand. We're victims. We get picked on. Mamdani's political mentor vows to hold him accountable if Democratic Socialist wins. I got a video of her. Hold on a second. This Sarsour woman? Here she is. Citizen Free Press put this up today. Linda Sarsour, CARE, bankrolled Mamdani. How much ammunition we need to go ahead and sink that battleship? We got plenty.
Right now, I'm a little more quiet because I'm on the quiet side of this race, but I'm going to tell you that once November 4th comes around, I will tell the story. The story is not just, that it's random that Zohran ascended to this place. It is our Muslim American communities. And I'll also say that it's Muslim money. The PACs that have supported Zohran, or a particular PAC that has supported Zohran, is probably over 80% of Muslim American donors in this country. High net donors, grassroots donors. And I want to make the point that the Unity and Justice Fund PAC, which is the CARE Super PAC, was the largest institutional donor to the pro-Zohran PAC in New York.
80% from Muslim groups. How many of them, these small donations, how many of them donate to Zohran Mamdani on housing and food stamps to boot? Oh, but we can afford to give Zohran Mamdani. And how about this guy? You think this guy belongs in jail? This is the poster boy or poster creature for these leftist lunatics. I got two quick clips of him. Tell me what you think. Should he be investigated?
I'm over here in New York at the Home Depot, and I just helped register about 6 day laborers, maybe 7 of them, to illegally vote for Zohran Mamdani.
Pretty bold. Did you all catch what he said? Did you all catch what he said?
I'm over here in New York at the Home Depot, and I just helped register about 6 day laborers, maybe 7 of them, to illegally vote for Zohran Mamdani.
He just helped them register. He didn't just go up and say, hey, you all ought to do this. He said he helped register them to illegally vote. Same character. He should be hard to find. He's some dumpy butterball waddling around New York. You can spot him from a helicopter with that orange hair and a big round rear end. Lazy ne'er-do-well. Shouldn't be hard to catch up with, but how about this one? Same guy.
I'm here in New York, about to illegally vote for Zohran Mamdani 6 times. Yeah, 6.
Could he be that stupid? Could he be that arrogant? Or is this some kind of game? I mean, they're playing some kind of damn game. Did you all see this already? You think he's playing a game, or you think he's that damn arrogant? I think he's that arrogant. I think they think they're so untouchable. But here, like I said, when their ox is getting gored, here is Boris Karloff. No, Frankenstein. No. George Clooney. George Clooney replacing Joe Biden with Kamala Harris was a mistake. Newsmax, George Clooney said he believes it was a mistake for the Democrat Party to nominate former Vice President Kamala Harris. You live in New York, probably. You're going to get your clock cleaned if Zoran gets in there. You'll be paying more taxes than you ever thought possible. Here, what's this? Oh, wait a minute. Trump. Now, I didn't know what to make of this. Trump's choice. President Trump officially endorsed Andrew Cuomo on the eve of the New York City mayoral election, saying the city would have zero chance of success or even survival under Zoran Mamdani's leadership. You know, and I see this, and I think about the nursing homes, okay? What he did during the illness, I'll put it that way. But I'm going to rely on the fact that Trump knows what he's doing. But I admit it did take me aback. I was a little bit agog because Rudy Giuliani has endorsed Silva. Is that how you say his name? Silva? Let me read some of the stuff Trump put out. Governor Kathy Hochul of New York State is killing the entire region with energy prices that are out of control. Expected to triple. She can't get an upstate and separately Long Island pipeline built. All of Connecticut, including its governor and New England, are really angry at her. New York City is getting killed by her ridiculous congestion pricing, where people have to pay a fortune to come to Manhattan. So they just don't come. The place is a ghost town. I'm going to ask our Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, to take a good long look at terminating New York City's congestion pricing. The entire state is going to hell. So the federal government will, of necessity, get involved. Can a governor impose those kind of fees? Impede commerce? Impede the freedom of travel? I don't know. We'll see how that pans out. So many fake polls are being shown by the radical left media, all slanted heavily towards Democrats and far left wingers. In the fair polls and even the reasonable polls, I have the best numbers I have ever had. Why shouldn't I? I ended 8 wars, created the greatest economy in the history of our country, kept prices, inflation, and taxes down, and am setting standards for right track, wrong track for future USA. Fake news will never change. They are evil and corrupt. But as I look around my beautiful surroundings, I say to myself, oh, look, I'm sitting in the Oval Office. Yeah, I didn't get the video of Harry Anton. He but he put out some numbers, and people were saying, well, he has been putting up stuff for Trump. Maybe this is him doing his penance. Maybe he's doing penance by putting up these numbers. Harry Anton said the Dems are the precipice of delivering a huge electoral blow to Trump. They lead in the New Jersey governor race, only close one, Virginia governor, and New York City mayor. Trump's way underwater in all three places, like he is nationally, and is a drag. Historically, a sweep of New York City, New Jersey, Virginia means Dems win the House next year. Look at these numbers he's putting up. Democrat up by 6 in New Jersey, up by 10 in Virginia. New York, Mom Dami, I believe that's 10. So even Harry Anton is putting up this gloom and doom. Didn't we just the other day put up numbers that were favorable to Trump? Harry Anton himself was putting them up. So is there something rotten in Denmark with these polls? We shall see. The time has come. Now's the time in the hour. I'm just looking at the chats here. Let me see. Yeah, daylight savings time always messes up. I had a fit about that 6 months ago. They should move it 30 minutes and leave it. Split the difference. See, because right now I should be wrapping up the broadcast, not halfway into it. Who'd I miss? Anybody sneak in here? Kim's here. I guess I got to be. The chats aren't moving that very good. But anyway, let's see. I'll put up Ted Kennedy. More Dems embracing far-left ideology. How can they have those stronger numbers in those areas? And it's like a backflip from what Harry Ann was talking about. Somebody paying these posters off so it won't be so obvious if they cheat? I don't know. Or we just have an overload of whack jobs in the country.
There's been no reflection, introspection, or course correction. So I don't see them changing. And now if you look at the front runners for president, you got Buttigieg, Kamala, Gavin, AOC. Is that the future of this party now?
Well, I don't think they have a future until they stand up to the loon wing of their party. The loon wing, though, the socialist wing is in control. They're about to elect Mr. Mondani mayor of New York. And this group, we remember them from the Biden days when they had influence with President Biden. They hyperventilate if you use the wrong pronoun. They think Abraham Lincoln and George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and Dr. Seuss and Mr. Potato Head are a bunch of racists. They think children ought to be able to change genders at recess. The American people don't think that. And many Democrats don't. I want to be fair. But the loon wing does, and they're in control.
Well, I mean, who are the ones except for John Fetterman speaking out?
None.
There you go.
Because they're scared. They're not scared of Senator Schumer. They're scared of Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez. And sooner or later, well, I don't know what's going to happen, Sean, but You know, as a Republican, this is probably good for Republicans, but I think it's bad for the country. I believe in competition, and I think New York is the greatest city in the world, and I don't want to see it ruined.
Yeah, but it's coming that way. Certainly is. Hi, Roland. How you doing? It certainly is coming to be that way. Here's Hakeem Jeffries. What's he got to say? Oh, it's all our fault. That's right. Not a single American should go hungry, and it's the fault of the Republicans that it's happening in this country right now. Blame game. Jeffries accuses Republicans of making intentional vicious choice after the Trump administration said it couldn't shift funds to SNAP without risking other benefits. I was waiting for an analysis of that Judge Judge McConnell. But no one's put one up yet. I want to see about that. The administration said it will use nearly all of its SNAP emergency contingency funds to provide 50% of food stamp benefits for the month. If I remember correctly, that judge said that he was requiring the government or the president to provide funding for all of it. So is he going to have a hissy fit? Is he going to cause a so-called constitutional crisis? We'll have to wait and see. Here's Real Clear Politics. Has Jersey Jack. Boy, it's showing a 3-point deficit. But that's an average of polls. And they're notorious for putting big outlier polls in to skew the averages. But here's one poll that ought to tell you quite a bit here. Do you support or oppose the U.S. destroying boats bringing drugs into the United States from South America? Look at that. 71% say they support it. 29 oppose. Who are they from? Oh, the Democrat Party. Well, independents, surprisingly, are 33%, but the Democrats, 44%. But all three of them support it. The majority support out of all three entities. You know, I had this the other day, and I didn't get to play it because time was running out. I kept saying, well, I'll play it tomorrow, and then I'll play it tomorrow. Another one about the boats from this guy here. I think it's funny.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started on the Venezuelan coast aboard this narco ship. The fake news said they were fishermen, but they were Tren de Aragua thugs, heading to the United States with a boat full of drugs. A boat full of drugs. Bad hombres decided to F around, so we blew them out of the water. We unleashed our secret weapon, and we dropped Katie Porter. We dropped Katie Porter. The narco boats were annihilated. Now the fish are high as hell. They got a free meal when the USA chummed the water with the cartels. And I got to look very well, by the way, with Davy Jones. You may have heard of him, Davy Jones. And he has a locker. And anybody who tries to sail drugs into our country, they're getting a one-way trip to Davy Jones' locker. That much I can tell you. Thank you for your attention.
So Yeah, we've got the do-gooders on the left still claiming that that is a war crimes by the Trump administration. But since that assassination I talked about last night of the here's a picture of him. This is the Mexican mayor, and I listened to this short video. There's claims that there's leaks coming out from the administration that we're going to do a ground operation in Mexico. And it's going to be a joint operation, Mexico and Venezuela. You know, you hear all kinds of stuff. Who knows what it's really going to be? But something's going to happen. If they think blowing up those boats is something, I mean, what the hell do they think happens in WAR, war, a war, an armed conflict? Here's from a couple of days ago. Maduro begs for help from Russia and China as Trump closes in. There he is. So is there going to be a joint operation happening? And that picture on the screen, I believe it is, yeah. I saw that cowboy hat laying on the road after during the video I saw, which there were other people who were also got shot. They apparently, or something happened because they were laying there and you could see the red stuff. So that's why I couldn't show that video. So something's going to happen. And Trump has said that he feels the Mexican president is terrified of these cartels. Let me see. There might have been something about that on Ruski News. Let me see if it's just a repeat of Nobel Peace Prize laureate and Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Machado. I don't go through all those names, okay? First and last name, all right? Thank you. Has called on Trump for a military escalation, considering it is the only way to overthrow Maduro, reports the Latin Times. Increasing pressure and escalating the conflict is the only way to make Maduro understand it is time for him to go and to facilitate a peaceful and orderly transfer of power, said the Venezuelan opposition leader. She promises that hundreds of thousands of people were ready to protest when the right moment comes. Earlier, Trump did not answer whether the U.S. plans to take any military action against Venezuela, but said that Maduro's days are numbered. Yes, he did say that. I played that video. I might as well, go through these Ruski News reports. Journalists asking Trump on Air Force One, will your administration provide Ukraine with long-range Tomahawk missiles? Are you considering such an option? Trump, no, not really. It could happen. I might change my mind, but at the moment, no. Well, I had been hearing, I guess from the same sources that are leaking, that he was going to give them to him. But now here we hear from Trump's own mouth he's not going to. He could change his mind, but he's not going to. But what gets announced today? UK sends Ukraine more Storm Shadow missiles to strike in Russia. So Trump, I would say, is keeping clean hands and let Europe make the decision if they want to screw with Russia. Not us. Don't drag us into it. I think that's the message. Britain recently delivered an additional batch of long-range Storm Shadow missiles to Ukraine, reports Bloomberg. Remember last year I was talking about Storm Shadow? Said it was going to play a big role. And at the same time, very sparse reporting. This is it. The U.S. is planning the first ICBM tests after Trump's statements talking about getting caught up on nuclear testing. The missiles will be equipped to carry a nuclear warhead, but without the warhead. Like Trump said, if we don't test them, how do we know if they're going to work? So we got to get caught up with our testing. Simple as that. Oh, my. Nancy Pelosi, there she is. Report, Nancy Pelosi may not seek re-election in 2026. So that's what were we told? Keep an eye on the people who are not running or stepping down. Where's that video of her? People are saying she should get kicked out of Congress for the way she was acting in this video. Let me see. Is this it? You got to catch it at the very beginning if this is the right one. She calls Trump a vile creature, I think, right at the very beginning of this clip.
He's just a vile creature. The worst thing.
You think he's the worst thing on the face of the earth?
I do, yeah. I do.
Why is that?
Because he's the President of the United States and he does not into a rogue court. He's abolished the House of Representatives. She's
insane. It's just gibberish. How has he corrupted the Supreme Court? All done through the constitutional process. So she's losing her mind. And let's see, Trump had here's a good clip. Well, I'll play that in a minute. Of Trump talking about political retribution in the 60 Minutes interview. But before I do that, I want to put this up here. Breaking. This is from EXX Alerts. Response to James Comey's motion to dismiss reveals bombshell evidence written on FBI Director letterhead that then FBI Director Comey had knowledge of and participated in the Russian collusion hoax against Trump. So I'll put this up. This is his what they presented in court. And the judge agreed that it's not a retribution or done for political reasons because of not only this evidence, but other evidence. But this is pretty strong. He writes like a doctor, but let's take a look at it. There's the letterhead. What does that say? Hillary Rodham Clinton? Apparently, Hillary Rodham Clinton's health, Hillary Rodham Clinton's plan for something Trump. Kerry, Trump finances. debts to Moscow. Joe Biden, journalists. I mentioned New York Times, Russia. Journalists saying, it's hard to read this crap, but I'm sure it was deciphered in his own handwriting from a presidential daily briefing or staff briefing where they were trying to frame Trump. So no, his motion didn't go through. So here's Trump talking about that. And I believe he says here kind of early in the thing, he tells this reporter that she's either nasty or that she's got a problem. And she glosses over it real quick, like she didn't hear it. You know, Trump's pretty much telling her she's giving a crooked interview. But anyway, I'll let you all listen for it.
Go after him automatically. But they instructed them to go after me because the records now have been found. So when you tell me about, I went after Comey, Comey's low on the totem pole. They went after the President of the United States. Do you know that they raided my house in Palm Beach, Florida, called Mar-a-Lago? They raided my house. I had 78 or 98 FBI agents with arms.
I know how
come into my house, and you're telling me, Nora, that I went after some lowlife named Comey, who's adjudged to be a crooked guy. He lied all over the place. He lied to Congress and did many other bad things.
Well, I was just asking.
For that, you should be ashamed.
No, I was just asking, is this retribution on your part?
No, it's the opposite. I think I've been very mild-mannered. You're looking at a man who was indicted many times, and I had to beat the rap. Otherwise, I couldn't have run for president. They tried to get me not to run for president by going after me and by indicting me. But even during my term, on a perfect phone call, I got impeached. This call was perfect. Tim Scott from South Carolina, highly respected, a legitimate person, totally legit. He read the thank goodness we had a transcript of the call. The call I got indicted on, a call on Ukraine, of all places, with the president of Ukraine. It was a perfect phone call. Tim Scott said, I just read the transcript. The president didn't do anything wrong. It was perfect. And that was the end of the indictment pretty much. But I had to go through a whole process. You know, the Democrats knew that I wasn't guilty because they didn't know the call was, I didn't know either. The call was essentially taped. So we knew exactly what the call. When they found out that the call was taped, Nancy Pelosi went crazy. They said, you made me go into this mess. She screamed at all these people that made her do it. Bad people like Schiff, et cetera, et cetera. So what happened is she went nuts. And just to conclude, and they said, let's do it anyway. They did it anyway, and I won very easily, as you know. But you can't then accuse me of weaponizing government. They were horrible human beings. They went after the President of the United States. They went after my children. They went into my wife's drawers. They went into my wife's closets. They held the dresses up. She came back. She said, oh, what happened? What happened? Because she's a very meticulous person. Everything's nice and neat. All of a sudden, everything's like, they went in. They took things that I was allowed to have filed under the Presidential Records Act that I was allowed to have. I had records. I was allowed to have them. Only the president's allowed, but I was, and it was nothing very significant anyway. There was like nothing. Wait, just 1 second. They opened these. I'm a very meticulous person too. I have files, beautiful. They took the files, threw them all over the phone, all over the floor. They were all over the floor, and they took pictures of them. This is my office. I said, what the hell? That's not my office. They took files. They threw them all over. They took pictures and they released them to the public. that this is President Trump's office. We caught him with all of this stuff like it was all over the floor of my office. These are crooked people. These are dissent. So don't ask me about, did you go after Letitia James, in my opinion, and I only say in my opinion because I guess the lawyers would prefer that I say that.
So he pretty much ran the gamut there where they staged a scene, all the stuff they did. He told her, you should be ashamed of yourself. That's what he said toward the beginning. For even asking the question, are you doing this for retribution? You should be ashamed of yourself for asking that kind of question. So, that's good exposure there. Yes, she's wearing purple Miss Mindersuits. It's the color revolution. That's why I use purple letters on my Eat the Rich. My thumbnail. I use the color purple because that's what it is. A purple color revolution. Now here's the young guy here. He's talking about Harry Sisson. And he if y'all want to keep up with him, he'll give some information at the end of the video. But what's he missing in his criticism of Harry Sisson? He does a pretty good job, though. But the Democrats as a whole, he's pretty much laying it out there what their damn strategy is.
I cannot believe what I just watched. Happy Halloween, kids, and remember, say thank you. Wow, I mean, what the fuck do we say at this point anymore? We just want healthcare. We just want healthcare. We want our fellow Americans to be fed.
Stop lying. You don't just want healthcare, and you don't just want Americans to be fed. We've got to act outraged about J.D. Vance having fun on Halloween. You guys are pathetic. But let's go back to him and Democrats lying. He's telling you we just want healthcare. He's making it seem innocent and like they're just virtuous. That's all. They just want healthcare, and they just want people to be able to eat. That's what they show you, but they don't tell you what's going on the back end. For starters, they want to make the Obamacare subsidies that were designed to be temporary aid during COVID, they want to now make that permanent. And that would cost $2 to $3 trillion over the next 10 years. So they want to change those subsidies from crisis support into long-term entitlements. They also want to reverse work requirements for Medicaid and SNAP. Oh, Harry didn't tell you this either. They want to restore federal funding for NPR and PBS. Oh, on top of that, they also want to block the White House from pausing or reviewing spending. And they want to undo about $1.5 trillion in cuts that Republicans recently got through with the Big Beautiful Bill. They're quite literally trying to embed long-term policy into a short-term bill. So this is not, don't get it twisted, this isn't a shutdown negotiation, it's a Trojan horse. They're trying to use this crisis to bake their agenda into the structure of the federal government. And they want to make it hard for Republicans to reverse that. So what they do is they go out to the public and say, oh, we're virtuous. We just want everyone to have health care. We're fighting for your health care. But they don't tell you behind the scenes that they want to reissue funding for NPR and PBS. What does that have to do with health care? They don't tell you that they're trying to limit the presidential power over federal spending. So to make it very simple, here's what they're using the shutdown to do. Grow entitlements, expand federal dependency systems, restore ideological spending, shield bureaucracies, strip future presidents, including Trump, of spending control, and submit programs to where they can't be reversed later. They're trying to do all those things by holding the government hostage and not passing a clean continuing resolution. So no, they're not just fighting for your health care. They're just using that as a cover to get long-term policy changes they want, and they're trying to look virtuous while they do it, and they're trying to manipulate the public into believing something that's not true. We just want health care, that's all, Harry and people like him say. Stop lying. No, you don't. Again, you guys are just using that as cover to manipulate people. Also, I have a free email newsletter where I give you morning updates about what's going on each morning. It's a great place to get direct information from me, and I can't be censored there. Link is in my profile. You'll see the screen when you click it. Drop your email in, and you'll be good to go.
And that's a pretty good analysis of it. But I think he left out about that the fact they want to keep tens of millions of illegals in this country to skew our representation in Congress. Okay? And Harry Sisson, you're going to sit there and rub your forehead because J.D. Vance put up a little Halloween meme, and you're not going to say anything about the ones that were wearing the Charlie Kirk Halloween outfits? That doesn't outrage you, you little twerp. You're more worried about because Trump did a meme about dumping crap on your head. So, yeah, otherwise it was pretty good analysis. Let's see. Oh, here's Jack, Jersey Jack. His son was serving in Kuwait and gave a surprise visit. How come my screen didn't work? There we go. Jack didn't know his baby boy was coming home. I can't believe he's down in the polls. What the hell do we got going on in New Jersey? Oh, I know what it is. I know what it is. New York and New Jersey has got, like Minnesota, has got millions of, I got to watch what I say, radical Muslims that would just as soon want to see Kuwait disappear and be part of the greater caliphate. Okay, that's why they don't see any value in an American citizen serving in the Middle East. When morons cry, this is clandestine, when morons cry about Israel controlling our politicians, they're blind to the Muslim Brotherhood. How many times you heard me talk about that? The most important person in this photo is in the background. I'll show you the photo in a minute. This is not Hillary's aide. She was Hillary's handler. She was not in charge. Hillary was a puppet. Let me show you the photo. Where is it? Here we go. The person in the background. Oh. Huma Abedin. Huma Abedin. Remember this tweet Trump put up? Right here. Dopey Prince Alwad Talal wants to control our U.S. politicians with daddy's money. Can't do it when I get elected. Trump 2016. This was back in 2015, 10 years ago. And remember, there was a purge in Saudi Arabia, and the person you're looking at, Al-Walid, the overused word literally, I'm going to use, because he was literally hanging by his heels after Trump got elected and he was outed for all the shenanigans siding with the Muslim Brotherhood and Iran. Okay, and he was removed from his familial positions, kind of like Andy, okay, over in the UK, and his brother's taken over. And it's a whole new ball game. And the clandestine pointed out further, this clip is extremely important. Saudi Arabia are one of the central players in this global Game of Thrones. Trump teases that Saudi Arabia are going to join the Abraham Accords and highlights how striking Iran's nuclear facilities paved the way for the peace deal. Trump is spoon-feeding it to us. He is essentially confirming that he made a deal with Saudi Crown Prince bin Salman and the leaders of the Muslim Arab world to take out Iran's nuclear capabilities in exchange for a peace deal in the Middle East and joining the Abraham Accords. You think people like Mamdani and Ilhan Omar are for the Abraham Accords? You think people like Ilhan Omar and Zohran Mamdani are supportive of Prince Salman, or they were without the type of alawite? That's why Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates treated Trump like a king when he visited back in May. That's why Trump is cleaning up the mess that Obama created with the Iran deal. Trump has already secured a new deal with the Muslim Arab world, and we are just witnessing the rollout. The deal was made long ago. And here's the clip he's talking about, where Trump says Iran had to be smacked flat for Saudi Arabia to come on board. Their nuclear capabilities had to be destroyed.
I wanted to ask you about the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia is coming to the White House this month. He has said they won't join the Abraham Accords without a two-state solution. Do you believe that?
No, I think he's going to join. I think we will have a solution. I don't know if it's going to be two-state. That's going to be up to Israel and other people and me. But look, the main thing is you could have never had any kind of a deal if you had a nuclear Iran. And you essentially had a nuclear Iran. And I blasted the hell out of it.
Yep, there you go. And like I said, do you think Mamdani or Ilhan Omar approve of that? No. They don't approve of it. Here Trump put this up yesterday. Donald J. Trump, she should go back. Holy cow, this guy writes, Ilhan Omar has called the president of Somalia our president at a Minneapolis rally. Somalia is our home. It is our heart. We always think about Somalia. Yeah, like Trump said, you should go home.
madaxweynaha Soomaaliya madaxweyne Xasan Sheikh Maxamuud inaan maanta ku soo dhaweyno Minneapolis aniga iyo madaxweynaha special relationship aan qabnaa aniga adeeraan ugu wacaa asigana gabarteeyo idhahaa madaxweyne sidii qof kasta uu yiri mininkaaga waaye ku soo dhawow Minneapolis aad iyo aad aan ugu faraxsanahay in maanta madaxweynaheena aad tahay Soomaaliya dadka meeshaan wada joogo dhan waa gurigooda annaga ma dareensannihin in ay naga tahay meel naga fog Soomaaliya wadnaheenay ku nooshahay qalbigeenay ku jirtaa maalin kasta aan ka fikirnaa Soomaaliya
Gotta go. Gotta go. We don't need that crap in our country. You either want to be part of the American experiment or you don't. Not take it apart, as I said last night. And we got to put a stop to this crap. What's going to happen? What's going to happen with this judge delaying the National Guard decision, her imperial decision till Friday. Andy No put this out. A Portland far-left Trantifa group named Degenerates Against Fascism. I used to get in trouble for using the word degenerates. I said, they're all a bunch of degenerates. How many times y'all heard me say that? Well, they call themselves degenerates now, so I guess I can call them degenerates. They're asking for cash donations as it announces a direct action against ICE on November 9th at 2 p.m. They're meeting at a nearby park and then marching to the building. Here they are. Here's your Degenerates Against Fascism. So, yeah, I read it in the chats earlier that the Saudis are going to meet with Trump. I think that's the 7th. The 7th. So that's a date to mark down. That's this Friday, I believe. Hi, Sparky. Randy. Also said hi to Sparky, too, earlier. My jumps around. But anyway, Degenerates Against Fascism. Pets, furries, kinksters. Hate will not make us great. All degenerates and our supporters are welcome. Look at that. So, something's going to happen. And word on the street is that the Dems were waiting to get past this election. What's this one? And then they were going to open the government up. Almost 800,000 New Yorkers are planning to flee the city. That's why I put New York exodus planned. If Democrat candidate Zohran Mamdani wins Tuesday's mayoral election, do you think they'll have a decision by tomorrow, or will this be a 2-day, 3-day, over the weekend election? Or do you think they'll have a winner tomorrow night? Tell me in the chats. What do you think? Or in the comments if you're watching afterwards. Do you think they'll have a winner tomorrow, or this get drug out? Will we have mysterious trucks riding around in the dark of night? Will we have malfunctions of equipment? I'd like to see a lot of people getting rounded up in the wee hours of the morning. November 5th. That's what I'd like to see. Okay, Christina Guaya News. Well, let me see. This must be the first page right here. Yeah. Here we go. Fast fact. Whoa, let me get that straightened out. Fast fact. 1 in 5 New Yorkers can't speak English, and almost 50% were not born in this country. Here's a picture for you to look at of the possible new mayor. He should have got deported right when he got in a conflict with that state trooper. Running his mouth. As the Big Apple is about to elect a Ugandan-born Muslim as mayor of New York City, new information reveals that 20% of people in New York City can't speak English, and 2 out of every 5 were not born in the United States. Critics are now questioning immigration policies that have tossed integration, cultural unity, and core U.S. values out the window. More than 3 million migrants now call New York City home, making up about 40% of the total population. This influx, according to experts, was fueled by Biden-era open border policies that allowed asylum seekers, refugees, illegal immigrants, and those that were given temporary protective status to pour into the country. In addition, taxpayers are footing the bill for millions of dollars each year spent in translation costs. New York City is a designated sanctuary jurisdiction, so they do not cooperate with ICE, honor ICE detainees, and don't share information with federal authorities. The city also gives IDs, driver's licenses, and financial assistance to illegal migrants. These policies, combined with New York's right to shelter law, have brought more than 200,000 migrants to the city in recent years, overwhelming the system. From fiscal year 2023 through September 2025, New York City has spent about $8.75 billion on migrant services, including free shelter, free food, free health care, free travel, and free education for the migrants. Experts expect that to hit $12 billion by the end of fiscal year 2025. So yeah, there he is, got that big mouth wide open during a protest. So yeah, they got to be deported. Did I leave anything out from that? I might have even more on that. Wait a minute. Let's see. Oh, yeah, we got more. This spending diverts billions of dollars from core services like policing and infrastructure. Critics are calling for reform, saying migrants should complete mandatory civics education and learn English to make sure they assimilate and respect the country, rather than displace the nation's foundational principles. As one policy expert said, diversity strengthens America only when it builds on shared language and values. New Yorkers on welfare. Oh, here we get down to the brass tacks, folks. Brass tacks. Medicaid health coverage. 3,970,000 enrollees. Might as well say 4 million. SNAP. 1,796,300. Housing. 880,000. Cash assistance. Cash. 855,600. SSI. Oh, 332,000 in just one. This is just one state. So Rand Paul is right. We should have to work till we're 70, right? I don't know how he's going to get out of that one. I don't know. Fair fares, transit discounts. Now the slob going to work doesn't get no discount, right? 378,527. Home care services, 309,361 cases. More than 2 million New Yorkers are enrolled in at least 2 welfare programs. Work till you're 70. Dopey American. Oh, that's a Andrew Brank. I'll get that in a minute. Some of the stuff he copies. Here we go. A federal judge on Sunday, extended her order blocking President Trump from sending National Guard troops into Portland, continuing the legal battle over President Trump's power to use the military on American cities. Following a 3-day trial, but what a joke. Karen Immergut issued a preliminary injunction prohibiting the deployment of troops from any state's National Guard to Portland through at least Friday. So they're there by themselves, have to use whatever resources Border Patrol and ICE have to handle hundreds of lunatics. And you know now they got the degenerates coming to town. The degenerates. So the Insurrection Act talks about when the regular forces cannot or will not provide a situation where federal law can be enforced. Okay, they're either unwilling or unable to enforce federal laws. Well, I think the regular forces are saying, well, what does regular forces mean? And people say, well, I guess the cops, and I guess marshals, I guess ICE agents. Well, I think it also means prosecutors, sheriffs, police chiefs, and judges. I think judges are every bit a part of the regular forces that you use to enforce federal law just as much as a cop on the beat. And she is just memorializing the fact that they are failing at every level, from the cop on the beat all the way up to a federal judge. They're the regular forces. They're part of what's called enforcement. That's why that word is incorporated. Force. Enforcement. So no, you're not enforcing. And that's why the military gets called in. And that's what's going to happen. Call me crazy. You see, Trump's not putting into it. Well, I'm going to go over some of these Andrew Branca tweets in a minute. Trump's being awful quiet about the judge business. You know, that's when they need to watch out. Fox News put out, Speaker Johnson says, as their ransom for reopening the government, Democrats want to cut $50 billion from the Rural Hospital Fund that Republicans just got signed into law on July 4th. Well, you don't see that reported very much, do you? Just people like Harry Sisson getting his $8,000 a month to say, we just want health care. No, you want free health care. And by the way, Harry Sisson, people in hell want ice water. What are you going to do about that? Midas Trash Network. I thought this was unusual. This is one of the viewers of the mind-numbing idiocy from Midas Trash. Starting to think something is up, considering that Trump has not decided to deploy poll watchers or ICE to New York City. Aha, that's true. In fact, he has barely mentioned it, despite Zoran running and with this election being of significant importance for the Democrat Party's future. I hope I am wrong. You're wrong about what? Oh, something being up? Yeah. He's not provoking anyone. He's not giving you all or the people in New York reasons to act fools like they are in Portland and Chicago. Okay, he's not provoking nothing. He's letting y'all do your thing. Yeah, I think he's giving them enough rope, is what I think. He's giving them enough rope. Look at this. It's hard to People blame this on the jab, right? Look at the increase in SNAP benefits being issued. 44.46% jump from 2020 to 2021. One state, let's see, 69% increase in the District of Columbia, the nation's capital. California jumped 43% from 5 million, or how much is that? Holy cow, 5 billion, 977 million in 2019 to 11 billion 243 million in 2021. You know what that's about? It's about taking care of illegals. Bringing all those people in from all over the world, and God knows what it is now. And like I said, two things they were going to say when they came across the border. Me no speaky, right? And me hungry. Remember me saying that? Me no speaky, me hungry. They weren't packing lunch, is exactly what I said. So that's where this, not COVID, but the influx of new neighbors to skew the census and give them more representation in Congress. And it's costing us, you and me, billions. Here's a woman right here. I'm not going to judge her by her looks or her accent or nothing. I don't even know how much she gets. I knew a guy who was disabled, had a stroke, didn't work or nothing, but he only got like $26 a month in food stamps. I don't know. I never figured that one out. Who the hell could eat for $26 a month? But anyway, this woman, I don't know what she gets a month, but she says she can't make it without food stamps. But she's been on food stamp for 30 flipping years. I don't know what her status is. If she's a citizen or naturalized or what.
The first thing I did was grab my phone and call, and when I heard $0, my chest went into my throat.
Maggie Aragon has been a SNAP recipient for more than 3 decades. Even with these benefits, she says she also relies on food banks to get enough food.
I have depended on those benefits since the 1990s, and it's detrimental to my life if I don't get them.
There are more than 460,000 New Mexicans using SNAP benefits. Tonight, some of them telling us they don't have those right now. Friday, Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham announced $30 million in state funds would be used to supply SNAP users starting November 1st.
We're going to choose feeding families over politics. In New Mexico, we're going to do that right now.
That's a systemic failure when you have somebody for 30 years on government assistance. What's this one? I'm not sure what this video is. Let me see. Oh, I know what this is. This is a father who caught his 2 sons stealing from a CVS. And he makes them go back in there, give back what they stole, and apologize.
Come over here. Come over here. Excuse me. These are my kids right here. Okay. They came in here and they stole. I apologize. They coming in here return the stuff that they just stole.
Okay.
And if you ever see them in here again, please kick them out.
Okay.
Or even call the police on them.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
My big manager is right there. If I need you.
Come on, go. I'll take it back and tell her you apologize. Come on, nigga. You apologize for stealing too, nigga. Both of y'all. No, he was still in them. I found out he come to return them.
Okay.
If you ever see him in here again, can you please kick him out?
Okay, will do.
Without no parents? Apologize.
Okay, thank you.
Apologize. Thank you.
Well, hopefully he headed it off at the pass from them putting themselves in a situation to ruin their lives. What are you stealing out of CVS, you dopey kids? But anyway, he told them to keep them out of there altogether. What was this about? Oh, this is, let me see. This is about Nigeria. You know, the president of Nigeria, after Trump made that comment, he came out and said, hey, you know, we'll look at it as help. He all but said that, you know. They're not going to argue about coming in guns a-blazing because the government is trying to stand up against these extension of the Muslim Brotherhood, okay? Radical Muslims, right? Anyway, let me see what this clip is about.
78 countries, 330 million Christians being persecuted around the world. It is the most persecuted religion across the Middle East and Africa and elsewhere. And to your point, relative silence from the international community. It is in the UN Charter as a basic human right. It's one of the things that Nicki Minaj is going to come over, and we're going to have her talk to the UN, talk to our experts, and actually hear from some of these pastors and others that have been so horribly persecuted. And I really welcome her engagement and her spot.
The most persecuted religion on the face of the earth. Christians. So what are they going to do? Are they going to, since Trump has, you know, Trump's always right. Trump does what he says he's going to do. If he said he was going to go in their guns a-blazing, they may have turned down their temperature quite a bit. You know, I've said in the past, I talked about how Clarence Thomas was speaking at a military academy, and the local paper didn't even talk about it. That was about 20 years ago. And I've talked about Thomas Sowell. You talk about Clarence Thomas, Thomas Sowell. These are members of the black community, but I might as well say, was nothing wrong saying that are highly respected, highly intelligent, but the media always go out of their way to minimize them, ignore them. Like I said, the power to ignore. And I got a clip I want to play of Thomas Sowell. Let me see what's going on in the... Yeah, Kim, it's good that, you know, a lot of parents don't want to challenge their children. They don't want to be, as part of parenting, is set them straight. Every now and then you got to give them a little crack on the rear end or hurt their ego somewhat. So anyway, I've got other stuff we can talk about on our next broadcast. I feel that something's going to happen. Something's going to happen, and it's odd because part of my reasoning is that the internet has been really strong here in the last couple of days, which is unusual for my neck of the woods. But I said it before, when there's a real good signal and things are really going good on the internet, I feel like something big's going to happen from the white hats. I could be wrong. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this clip from Thomas Sowell and share it around. Let's see what happens tomorrow, folks. Y'all keep your chins up. And I want to thank you all for spending your precious time with me. I should be going live day after tomorrow. I had some people put in comments, no broadcast tonight? Question mark. I usually don't on Tuesdays. But if something big happens, you'll know I'll go live. And if you're subscribed, you know when I go live. So enjoy this clip. I appreciate you all. Have a great evening. This is Mountain Man. Over and out.
The welfare system and other kinds of governmental programs are doing is paying people to fail. Insofar as they fail, they receive the money. Insofar as they succeed, even to a moderate extent, the money is taken away. This is even extended into the school systems, where they will give money to schools with low scores. Insofar as the school improves its education, the money is taken away, so that you are subsidizing people to fail in their own private lives and become more dependent upon the handouts.